Hello guys, welcome to the channel. Let's go for more news, but before, don't forget to subscribe and leave a like. Trump's rambling trial deposition left lawyers fearing they'd be here until midnight, report. Newly released transcripts from Donald Trump's deposition earlier this year in a New York State civil fraud case show prosecutors were irked with the former president's long-winded ramblings, insider reports. New York Attorney General Letitia James' $250 million lawsuit alleges that Trump, along with his two sons and two of his former top executives, exaggerated the former president's net worth in financial fillings for the Trump Organization, among other business ventures. The case is scheduled to go to trial October 2. Insider reports that, after persistently asserting his Fifth Amendment rights in his initial deposition, prosecutors couldn't get him to shut up when they deposed him again in April. Trump's deposition during the 7-hour April session prompted a prosecutor to say that, if the former president didn't shorten his responses, all involved in the proceeding would be here until midnight. In one of his ramblings, Trump described renovations at his National Doral Golf Club in Miami and the facility's marble bathrooms. In the case of the villas, 800 rooms, they were gutted out down to the steel and rebuilt, and they're incredible, he said of his renovation of the property, Insider reported. I could have done what I call the paint and wallpaper job. You just paint and wallpaper it. But it was time, it was tired. He added, I started using marble instead of carpet. The report describes a contentious scene in which Trump lawyer Chris Kise initially complained to prosecutor Kevin Wallace, "We're going to be here until midnight if you keep asking questions that are all over the map." Wallace hit back, according to the report, telling Kise that, "We're going to be here until midnight if your client answers every question with an 8-minute speech." And what do you think of this news? Leave your opinion in the comments. Liberal groups seek to use Constitution's insurrection clause to block Trump from 2024 ballots. As former President Donald Trump dominates the Republican presidential primary, some liberal groups and legal experts contend that a rarely used clause of the Constitution prevents him from being president after the January 6, 2021, attack on the U.S. Capitol. The 14th Amendment bars from office anyone who once took an oath to uphold the Constitution but then engaged in insurrection or rebellion against it. A growing number of legal scholars say the post-Civil War clause applies to Trump after his role in trying to overturn the 2020 presidential election and encouraging his backers to storm the U.S. Capitol. Two liberal nonprofits pledge court challenges should states' election officers place Trump on the ballot despite those objections. The effort is likely to trigger a chain of lawsuits and appeals across several states that ultimately would lead to the U.S. Supreme Court, possibly in the midst of the 2024 primary season. The matter adds even more potential legal chaos to a nomination process already roiled by the frontrunner facing 4 criminal trials. Now Trump's very ability to run could be litigated as Republicans are scheduled to start choosing their nominee, starting with the Iowa caucuses on January 15. There's a very real prospect these cases will be active during the primaries, said Gerard Magliosa, a law professor at Indiana University, warning that there could be different outcomes in different states before the Supreme Court makes a final decision. Imagine you have an opinion that says he's not eligible and then there's another primary where he's on the ballot. Though most litigation is unlikely to begin until October, when states begin to set their ballots for the upcoming primary, the issue has gotten a boost from a recently released law review article written by 2 prominent conservative law professors, William Bod and Michael Paulson. They concluded that Trump must be barred from the ballot due to the clause in the 3rd section of the 14th Amendment. That section bars anyone from Congress, the military, and federal and state offices if they previously took an oath to support the Constitution and have engaged in insurrection or rebellion against the same, or given aid or comfort to the enemies thereof. In their article, scheduled to be published in the University of Pennsylvania Law Review, Bod and Paulson said they believe the meaning is clear. Taking Section 3 seriously means excluding from present or future office those who sought to subvert lawful government authority under the Constitution in the aftermath of the 2020 election, they write. The issue came up during last week's Republican presidential debate in Milwaukee, when former Arkansas Governor Asa Hutchinson warned that this is something that could disqualify him under our rules and under the Constitution. Trump argues that any effort to prevent him from appearing on a state's ballot amounts to election interference, the same way he is characterizing the criminal charges filed against him in New York and Atlanta and by federal prosecutors in Washington, D.C., and Florida. And I think what's happening is there's really been a backlash against it, Trump told the conservative channel Newsmax. If any state bars Trump from running, his re-election campaign is expected to sue, possibly taking the case directly to the U.S. Supreme Court. If no state bans him, Free Speech for People and another nonprofit, Citizens for Responsibility and Ethics in Washington, would likely challenge his presence on the ballot.